Hello and welcome to the Bacon Bites. My name is Seth Bacon and we will go ahead and get started this morning. So very much appreciate everybody jumping in here and hanging out. We got started a little late. Baby Bacon was not excited to go down this morning, and so getting started a little late. But welcome. If this is the first time stopping by, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Seth Bacon, and I host the Bacon Bites here on Saturday morning. We do bacon and business apps. Sorry, it's been a while. It's been about 2 weeks since we last streamed, and so excited for everybody to jump back in here and join us this morning. Wanted to go ahead and get started with some different things, and we'll go ahead and highlight what's going on in the community, what's happening, and then also jump into who's out there. So before we get too far into it, there's a couple of different things I wanted to highlight. And so one of them is, I don't want to highlight it too much, but thoughts and prayers are with those down in New Zealand. Specifically thinking of Mark Smith, and who's from New Zealand, and so somebody that is part of the Dynamics communities that has a direct link and has an impact and family down there. And so as far as I know, that nobody he knows directly was impacted, but very much thoughts and prayers are with Mark and the family down there. So one of the other things I wanted to highlight is kind of out of that is a tweet from Nick Dolman, and this is it was very sort of on point and highlights sort of why I love our community, and it's the fact that when we have tragedies like this, it's people like Nick that just sort of remind us of what's good in the world and what's good and what's happening. And so here Nick was just calling out, and so they're off to the MVP Summit. And so if you're unfamiliar with that, it's where all the different MVPs for the different Microsoft products head out here to Seattle and spend time with the product team, understanding what's happening and where things are going with the product. And one of the things that he just calls out here is that these are people from around the world. And so in a world of terrible things that he mentions, it's great to be a part of a community where people from different countries, cultures, genders, religions, and ages come, laugh, and work together. And so, Nick, I think I very much appreciate that sentiment and that thought, and it's exactly why one of the reasons I love what we do and the community that we work with, because it is made up of people from just out of college all the way through to people that have worked in business and industry for their whole career, and they're retiring out of it. And so it's an exciting place to be a part of, and it's a place where you do interact with different cultures and different backgrounds and different people, and you learn to appreciate what's different and unique about each individual and the opportunity to learn from them and their experiences. And so very much appreciate the Dynamics community that Microsoft has created, this community of people around this product and everybody's collaborativeness. It's been neat to see the different hackathons that are going over in the UK and over in Europe, and very much excited about that, and just how people are coming together as communities and learning from each other. Again, I think it's the biggest thing that excites me about having a product like this. And so the other part, I guess, with that is it's not just us versus them, even in the Microsoft stack. And so it's not even customer engagement versus F&O or something like that. It's not some of these other things where we think about Salesforce versus Microsoft. I think it's at least for me, it's something that I joke about and laugh about. I've been starting to present more stuff on Salesforce with the Microsoft presentations, and so it's a mutual respect and how do we collaborate along that stuff. So very much appreciate this thought, Nick, especially during this time, and just reminds us why we do what we do and the excitement that we can have around each other. And so and excitement for that. So anyways, good. So I wanted to start there. And just again remind us of the opportunity to collaborate with each other, opportunity to learn from each other, to connect with each other, whether it's here on the Bacon Bites or whether it's on Twitter or whether it's on LinkedIn or whether it's in the community itself. So I very much appreciate those thoughts, Nick. So one of the things I wanted to highlight as we're just getting started, we often do these shout outs and say who's in the community and what's going on. I wanted to give kind of two shout outs. One is from Mandar, who is also the business apps leader here in Seattle. And so Mandar is helping develop and helping grow the Power Apps community. We just had our first Dynamics communities. So again, that organization puts on and hosts the user groups. And so we just did our first Power Apps user group in Flow. And it was a 4-hour event, and so did a presentation and introed of that, and then Mandar actually did about 2 hours worth of content, and he was crazy. It was just the amount that he knows and the stuff that he covered was impressive, and it was really cool to see his passion and what he has available. And so very much appreciate Mandar, you helping start this chapter here in Seattle, the excitement that you have for it, the opportunity to work together with you on that stuff, and just to see and be exposed to your knowledge, and very much appreciate what you're doing and the change that you're leading both within your organization and being a thought leader there and being an innovation champion at your organization, and then also with your the impact that you're making and the contributions you're giving. So I know it's not somebody, he doesn't tweet a whole bunch. It's funny when you talk to him, he's like, if I start tweeting, who knows when I'll stop. And so anyways, very highly recommend Mandar if you get a chance to connect with him. Connect with him on LinkedIn, follow his journey, and engage with him. Very highly recommend that. So anyways, that was the individual I wanted to give a shout out to, is Mandar, just for all the work that he's done this last week, especially in how it came together. Also appreciated Mr. Dang. Got a chance to meet Brian, who actually attended our Power Apps user group, and so very much appreciate him and Microsoft. There was a couple of them that came over from Redmond and Bellevue area over to Seattle, and had a chance to engage with them, and very much appreciate the opportunity to connect with them. So thank you, Mr. Dang, Brian, and look forward to connecting with you at the next event, whenever and wherever that may be. So, well, good. So with that, let's go ahead and I don't think there's any specific news that I wanted to call out. There is, I guess, one other podcast that I wanted to bring up really quick. So let me switch over to the break screen, and then wanted to pull up a podcast. So Mark Smith has a podcast that he does. So again, just referenced him a minute ago. So NZ365 guy. So NZ for us in the US. And so with that, he had a great interview that he did with Charles Lamanna, and just sort of what was going on with the Power Platform and what you'll learn. And it was just a huge, incredible thing to learn from Charles. And I loved Mark's style of interview and the way that he asked questions, the way that he articulated them. And so very much appreciate Mark and Charles for the time that he gave, and just some of the insights that are coming. And so just how, from Microsoft's perspective, they're looking to take, instead of a model-driven and a Canvas Power App, it's one app. There's limitations currently, and that he says it's legacy data or legacy functionalities that are preventing that. And so in their mind, they're really trying to get it to one place. They touched on the different checkers, so the app checker, the solution checker, the flow checker, and then also how storage is being reevaluated and how that's being rolled out, as well as the the release cycle, and so it's been very cool to see what that looks like, and excited to do that, and just see this product grow and become a platform. And so with that in mind, what we're going to do today, and actually for the next couple of live streams, is what I actually want to start creating an app. In the past, we've kind of like his channel's kind of taken a couple of different flavors and stuffs. Early on, we were like, okay, we have content, let's go ahead and create it and then push it. What I was finding is that the content that I was creating, while hopefully relevant and hopefully good, was going to be quickly outdated. And so it was this concept of, hey, you created a video, awesome. It no longer is applicable because the user interface has changed. Maybe the concepts are still there, but the underlying actually the forward-facing stuff has changed. And so that's been something that I was just aware of, and just wanted to make sure I wasn't creating content that had a limited lifespan, that I was creating something that had a little more leg, and an opportunity to grow even further. And so anyway, so that's why I wanted to create this and create on the live stream. And then from there, what I was finding is that it was kind of, hey, you're learning on the fly and you're really not going a direction. And so how do I sort of focus that in on a specific task and a specific direction? And so what I wanted to start doing on these live streams is actually taking a concept and then building it all the way through, as opposed to, hey, let's learn a little flow, let's learn a little power apps, let's learn a little this or that. Let's go ahead and take a concept and go all the way through. So that's what we're going to do. If you're here today already and you want to drop in a business use case that you wanted to go through, we can do that. So feel free to drop that in there and we can go ahead and build that out. If not, and I don't know if anybody's watching this morning, maybe hopefully people will watch it on the recorded. What I wanted to do is, I'm going to put this over here, is actually go through, we did a field service implementation a little while ago, and so wanted to go through what that would look like had we done it with a Power App. It's one of those things, I think we could do it, but I don't know 100% if we could do it with a Power App. And so I want to try doing it with a Power App, and we'll be going through that. So let me just pull up my pulling it up on the other side real quick. The other thing that this is going to do, and the reason I wanted to do this, is to have continuity between streams. And so instead of, okay, this topic we were doing this topic we're doing that, is to have, okay, so we're going to do this process. So it's no fun if I just keep it on the other screen. So I'm going to bring it over here on this screen. So let's go ahead and build an app. This is demos.microsoft.com, and as a partner, I have access to this. And so what I want to do is see if these are some of the different scenarios. Let's create an environment and a tenant. And then let's see if there's a Power Apps one. I know we have the dynamic stuff, and I'm fine with doing that. And it looks like that may be all the options. Okay. And the reason I'm doing this is because I wanted it to last a little longer. It acts like that's a button, but it doesn't seem to change anything. Okay, cool. Not going to install any of these accelerators at this time. And again, we can use an environment that's already out there, but as you see, it's so amazingly, incredibly fast. Anyways, and it spun up. So it is just that fast. So while that is getting finished, what I wanted to do, and what we'll do is, as it's coming up, Let me see if I can't pull up a notebook real quick. So what I need to do is have like a little screen here that I can like, when I need to pull up stuff, I can do that without going to this slide. So I will work on that. Creating a new section. We're going to do the case. I know you guys are not seeing what I'm typing right now, but let's change that. Let's go back. And so here we go with the, so we got the use case. So what's the use case? So we have people going out, and again, want to be mindful of how much I share of what was client related and what we're making up here. So what we're going to do is the use case of, you go out into, it's going to be an inspector. And so we'll just call it an inspector. So we have a person inspecting the location. So we have individuals that, I'm going to zoom in so that way you guys can actually see what I'm typing. So individuals that inspect, what should we inspect? Let's inspect the road. So these are going to be city inspectors that inspect the road condition for potholes. Yeah, I like that one. Again, this isn't the exact use case, but it'll cover what we're looking for. And with that, we want to do a couple things. We need an app to record the location of the pothole. Let's make these requirements. And again, these are very light requirements, if you will. Need an app to record the pothole. Need to record the a photo of the pothole. Need to assign the whole repair to someone. Oop. We're gonna call them cases. We're gonna send the pothole summary report to the individual reported the issue. What else can we do? If you guys think of other things that we can add, or somebody that's inspecting a pothole, go ahead and drop it down in the comments or drop it over in the chat if you're live here this morning. I think that's a good start though. And so we'll see what we can do as far as getting through this, and we'll probably rearrange this stuff. So potholes throughout the city. Cool. So that'll be what we're going to do. So we want an app. We want to be able to record some information, potentially some weather. We'll get into that. So that's what we're going to do, and that's going to be the use case. And so let's go ahead and bounce back over here. Let's go to web.powerapps.com and head over there. We should have... So this brings up the question, do we want to use, is that the right environment? I think it is. Yeah, it is. Cool. So should this be a model or canvas app type of thing? And I would think this would be a little bit of both. And so I would think this would be a model driven app for what they're doing in the back end. It's what they're doing back at headquarters or back at base. And then when we also, when we do the when we do the actual field work, when we're outside, I would do the actual implementation there. So this begs the question, would you use field service or not? And I don't know if I'd use field service, and I actually don't want to use field service for this. I'm curious on actually just using the common data model as part of this. So let's actually do that. Let's try doing it from the common data model as opposed to using using the common data service. So I want to do this, and it's really like, we're not going to use CRM. It's not going to be model driven app. And we'll see what this looks like. You don't have permission to use common data service. Switch to a different environment or create your own. Create new environment. Nice. So we're going to do, what should we call this? I'm trying to think of a different city. City of Baconville. Right? That's how you spell Baconville. So, town of Bacon. No, Baconville's fine. We're going to do this as production. We're going to create an environment. It's going to go ahead and create the environment. We'll see how long this takes. And wow, that was quick. Your environment includes access to common data services. Create a database. Start using collect, store, and share data. Use your data modeling. Create custom forms. Cool. Currency. We are going to use the US dollar for our currency, and we still speak English. And so that's going to go ahead and create that. We'll see how long this takes. But here we have the city of Baconville. So that's our CDS. To my knowledge, I don't know if that's going to create another. So that's Contoso. Do we see any other ones for Bacon? I'm always curious on what gets created over here in Dynamics, being an old school Dynamics individual. Sync that and see if that comes through. Hopefully you guys have some coffee that you can sip on while we wait. My wife got me into Nespresso, and it was really good. So, okay, so we're gonna from blank, model-driven app from blank. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and start that model. Create blocks of your apps, and let's Power Apps design the look. Model your data to create building blocks. Okay, that's no database found. Interesting. So even though we created an environment, and I thought we created a database off of that, does this have any data in it? Any data relationship? Yeah, it's got some. Interesting. Solutions, there's nothing in there. That makes sense. So if we do an app, these are all canvas. I want to do a model-driven one, because again, we're going to do this in the back end. For some reason that worked that time, as opposed to going up here to home from blank. Must have been a timing issue. So this looks typical for what we've seen before. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna potholes. Are potholes one word or two? Potholes. Probably should find that out. It is one word. Good to know. This will be good. We'll have some images and stuff like that. So, track the report. Track the reporting. And we'll use the default image. Here we have where it's going. You see here that the unique name for the publisher. We're not going to use an existing one. We don't need a home page or a welcome page. We should be able to change that later if we wanted to. So here we have the sitemap. So currently nothing's configured on the sitemap. And we'll go ahead and create that. So what we need is, let's start with the dashboard. The dashboard's always good. We do need to select a dashboard. Let's do just the overview for now. We gotta start somewhere. This is gonna be, let's go with my work. The classic my work example. And then the other one we wanted to do here is let's go ahead and add a new sub area. And let's bring in the, we shouldn't need the contact. So we're going to start tracking the individual that reported it and stuff like that. So let's contact, that should be fine. Contacts plural. ID, sure, we can leave that. And then let's also bring in, I don't know if we want to do queues. Maybe we do queue. Do queues. I think we maybe want to move contacts to somewhere else. We'll do queues for now. And let's also add my activities. So what we're doing here, again, this is, there's different ways to approach this. One, we don't have actual specific like user stories that we're working off of. And so I want to be mindful of that, just how we're kind of just doing this on the fly and building as we go and as we make this up. Typically you would want to start with, okay, this is the requirement, let's go build this out. This is kind of, this is more free flow, I guess you can tell. This is doing it for fun and not for a project. And so what was the other thing I wanted to add? We got dashboards, oh, activities. And so let's go ahead and bring in activities. Fine. And then the other thing we're going to do is create a new group and then move this contact, don't send. So we got dashboards, we got my queues, my activities. So that's under my work. Oop. Nice, I like how you can move that now. Good. Good. Just call it general information for now. And then up here, we will call this area general items. We'll see how that looks. So cool. So we got dashboards, queues, activities, contacts. We will need a case. And so let's go ahead and I think that would go under general. So we'll go ahead and create a sub area and we'll do an entity. We're going to call it a, we're not going to call it a case. It is going to be case. Interesting. So cases aren't part of it. Out of the box. Interesting. Okay. Good to know. So that entity does not exist in our database yet. How do I get rid of this? Yeah, no, I know it's bad. That's why I want to get rid of it. Huh. So I do need to fill it out with something. Interesting. I had to fill it out before I could delete it, even though I knew I wanted to delete it. Okay. So let's go back to the app designer. Let's go back here. Let's go at entities. So I don't see case. Default, let's look at all. I want to make sure I see all of them. How do I bring in like an existing case thing? So this is new. It's going to create it direct from scratch. But I don't, I'd like to use the existing case entity. Counts and contacts are there. I don't see opportunity. So this is pretty vanilla, which isn't bad. So I would need to create my own case entity. Let's do that. So we got case, automatically suggests cases. The name of the entity, enable attachments, notes, and fields. Yep. Files. Description. Ownership should be standard entity. Yeah, it's gonna be that. Let's do it from bottom to top so that way you can go through it and expand it. Allow feedback, enable activity tasks. Yeah, we don't need to enable that. Send email to entity. I think we're fine there. Support mail merge. I don't know if we need that, so let's go ahead and turn that off. What does it say? Office Word merge documents from this entity. We'll see if we need that later. I'm curious. We do want to enable SharePoint document management. We'll play around with that later. Auto create access of teams, enable queues. We do want that. Automatically move records to the owner's default queue when a record is created or assigned. No, we will use queues because again, when a new item comes in, what we want to do is assign that out to somebody. Quick create forms for sure. Duplicate detection. Yeah, we'll leave that enabled. And offline capabilities for Outlook. Interesting, this is new. CRM for Outlook. I mean, they've always had the opportunity to go offline, but I don't know if I've seen this. Anyways, we won't worry about that today. Cool. Cannot be disabled. Interesting. This is kind of a cool thing. I like this. This is new. It's telling you, hey, once you enable these, you can't disable that. And that's something that I find for new administrators is huge. Being able to bring that on. So, primary name, primary field. It's fine. It's got to be text. Oh, you can auto number it. Yeah, that's cool. That's new. Date prefix number. Yep. Format. Yep. I like. Actually, do we have? Interesting. So the format is based on the US because I don't see year, month, day, which I would have expected. We got month, day, year, but we don't even have year, month, day. Okay, let's do that. So if we had, yeah, that should be fine. So this is using the new auto numbering. And that'll be fine because again, when we're dealing with items like this, and again, I don't know if I'd use this every time for every case, but in this instance where we're dealing with potholes, this is very much what you would look for is to be able to have something that's auto numbered. There's a lot of information that is contained in this as well. So you have when it was created and how many were created during that period. It's cool that the preview actually increments it as well, so you can see over time what that would look like. So let's go ahead and click done there. And so what else? You can create more additional fields. So if I wanted additional fields of, it'll already have status reason. What other reasons do we want to bring in? So so like a reported by, so reported by. I'm gonna leave that as a text field. Would be an interesting case for a contact. I don't even know if we need contacts in this case, because again, unless we want to track exactly who's doing it. So reported by, and let's do name there. I love how that updates still. Okay, cool. So it's gonna be required, and then can be searchable, so that way we pull it in. Individual that reported the case. It's not gonna be calculated roll up. So that's reported by name. That's gonna be full name. It's not. We're not gonna do like a first and last name. Though maybe you did. So reported by email. Reported by, and that's supposed to capture like the email of the individual. Is a thought there. So if they wanted to pull back information. And I keep making this generic, even though we're specifically looking at a pothole. The reason I make it generic is in case we ever needed to, for whatever reason, if we wanted to do a Let's not make this required. Let's make that, well, we use a business rule to hide or to show that or not. The reason I don't make that required, no, what was I saying? Oh, that naming everything case is because there's often a need when you're working in something like this that somebody else wants to leverage it. And so all of a sudden, if everything's labeled pothole, then you have to create a new field. Instead, we're just making everything more generic when it comes to these cases. We want a latitude that looks right. Okay. And so let's see what we got here. Do we have a lat long? I don't know if we have a specific text field that looks like that. Time zone duration, floating decimal. I think we just use a text field. Lat long. Number of digits. How many do we need on this? So you're telling me I need 7, 12? 100 digits tells you you're using a lat, not a long. Non-zero, okay. 10 digits gives you position about. Charting motion of tectonic plates and movements or volcanoes permitted. Interesting. So second decimal place is worth this much. Can separate one village from the next. Can identify a large agricultural field or institutional campus. Worth up to 11 meters, can identify a parcel of land comparable to the typical accuracy of an uncorrected GPS with no interference. Trees from each other. Interesting. Accuracy to the level of commercial GPS units can be achieved with differential correction. Is worth less than a meter. Can use this for laying out structures in detail or design landscapes, building roads. Should be good. More than good enough for tracking movements of glaciers and rivers. It can be achieved by tracking painstaking measures with GPS, such as differential correction. Is worth up to 11 millimeters. Is good for such surveying is near the limit of what GPS-based techniques can achieve. Interesting. So should we actually, instead of doing a text field, should this be a decimal field? You guys have thoughts on that? So should it be a decimal field? And what's the value range of that? So decimal places, we just found that for this, we probably want 7th decimal place. So we'll go 7. And then from here, what is the range of numbers? 360? No, it should be like 180, right? $60 minutes, 49. How to record and dynamics 365. That long. Should we just go pull it off? What does the contact say? Can I? No. Let's duplicate this. Let's go figure that Microsoft has done this before. They have contacts. They should have latitude. Okay, so they use a floating point number. And they use a minimum, maximum, and a 5. Interesting. So min, max, 90, and then 5, and they use a floating number. Okay, cool. We will assume that Microsoft is smart. So minimum value, maximum value, places is 5. And for kicks and giggles, for the primary address for the primary location of the case for use in mapping and other applications. Cool. So we got latitude of 90. What do they use for longitude? Another floating. Okay, come on, open up. And for here they do 180. Interesting. Never actually created lat long fields, so that's interesting. Kicks and giggles. Let's just go ahead and take this. Drop it there. Longitude. We're going to use floating again. We will copy this. Paste that. Primary case. Primary location for the case for use in maps. So minimum is negative 180, 180, and 5. Cool. The other thing I was looking at doing, and we'll work on this hopefully maybe next week, we'll see what happens, is to actually get some music so that way I don't feel like I'm talking to myself the whole time. So be on the lookout for that. Cool. So we have the latitude, longitude, primary field, which can be auto-calculated. We got the reported on name. The other thing I like about this is I think you can still update this. So if I wanted to, I could update that, which, because we haven't actually saved the entity yet. So this is all like before the entity's actually been created. Some other things we want to do is description. We're actually going to make this a text area because that's going to allow us to have more text length. Yep, that should be right. And this will do 2,500 words or 2,500 characters. And then we also need the other thing that's interesting, and I kind of wish we had it because it was a case, is resolution reason. And again, we're going to do that as an area. Resolution description of the resolution itself. That's going to be the text area. The other one I wanted to do there is resolution reason, and this is going to be more of a status reason kind of thing. So I actually don't want to do that. I want to open this up and find, because there's actually should be, oh, because we haven't saved, we don't see all these other ones. So let's go ahead and save this. And what you'll find, and this is something that I learned from Mandar and Brian on Wednesday, is what does it look like when you go ahead and save it. And so I wasn't seeing all the fields, and then when you actually save it is when you get in all those sort of the default ones. That's where you see all these things. So the status reason. So here we can actually like change, is it active or inactive? Here we can edit the option set itself. Enter the advanced edit mode solution explorer. To edit an entity status reason options, enter the advanced edit mode. That'd be nice if you could click on that, because now I'm gonna have to go figure out where that is, and I think I want this. Interesting. So it went ahead and brought my case in there, and now what I'm in there. How? I don't understand. Okay, Microsoft, what are you doing on this one? Edit options to enter the advanced edit mode. Where is the advanced edit mode? So solution. Is it the classic? I know how to do it in the classic. I think technically it's the classic. Again, I know how to do it here, but this isn't the advanced edit mode. It'd be nice if you could click on that and it would take you to, and this is some of the stuff I think they're hoping eventually so they can deprecate this, is to go here. Are you thinking? There it goes. So status reason, classic 12 windows that open. And here we can edit the statuses. So let's update some of the stuff. So this one, we actually want to edit it to be new. So if it comes in, it can come in active, and then it's going to be new. And then here, if we want it to be in progress, as one status, default is going to be new. Inactive is, let's say it's canceled. Resolved. Fixed. No issue. Again, I'm not coming up with a lot of great ones. We'll go ahead and sort these. Cool. You can do status reasons there. We won't get into that now, but you can do like actual, like, okay, if you can only go from new to in progress or new to canceled or something like that. So, okay, so let's go back over here to the app designer. Now that we have our case, okay, hopefully it didn't break anything. Let's actually change this one from this to case. Okay, let's save and close this. Let's save this. Let's publish. I don't know if this has come out, so it doesn't recognize that it hasn't been published yet. So let's go ahead and publish all those customizations real quick. When I say real quick, I mean, you see what this looks like. This is when it would be nice to have music. Just to break up. Okay, cool. Let's publish. So now let's go to the app designer. Hit the sitemap. Check out this context. Case is still not there. Okay. Let's close this. Leave it. Close that. So these potholes. Do I need to select the fact that it's an entity and then look for it? There it is. Cool. So we'll have a list of cases there as well. Let's publish that. And let's go back to, you have to save and close. Oh, interesting. Why do I have, what's the difference here? One's the app designer, one's the actual sitemap. Interesting. So this one is the actual app. The other, the client extension, is just the there it is. There's cases. Let's go ahead and take this and remove it since we don't need context in there. Activity forms. Select form case. So we're just going to bring all these in. Queues, we can bring all those in. My views. Yeah, we'll leave everything in there. Charts, activities by month, owner tag chart. Huh, interesting. So let's go ahead and remove some of these. Can I just like uncheck these? This would be an interesting thing. You can actually edit those there. That's sort of cool. Like I wanted to select if I have a bunch of these, so I don't know how to. I should figure out how to get this back to Microsoft. What I wanted to do is unselect this, and then you can unselect the top one, right? So the fact that I have to do this, and then I have to manually go through. If I have a bunch of charts and I just don't want to see one of them, then that would be better to do it that way. By type in priority, by priority, owner and priority. Sure. Dashboards. I didn't figure if there's any dashboards. We didn't create any for that. Cool. So charts, dashboards. Let's work on these. My knowledge. We will do knowledge base, I think, in this, so that way we can do that. So that I'm fine with that. Let's leave them all in there for now, and then from there we'll play around with it later. Interesting, I have a play button up here, so I just click that. So that's what we're seeing here. And so I don't know what's supposed to be up here. Interesting. I don't recognize this one. So the knowledge management one, that makes sense. My knowledge base. Interesting. I like these new items that they're dropping in there. We got some queues. We got activities. So my activities, dashboards, cases. All very cool stuff. So anyways, this is a start to it. So if I create a new case, we didn't create, anyways, we need to hit the form. There we go. I knew I was missing something. Let's go hit the case. Let's go to the forms. We need to do the quick create. Didn't we do a quick create? Tell it to do a quick create. Allow quick create forms. Interesting. I do have to create the quick create form myself. They used to do that automatically. Interesting. Okay, cool. See if we can't do that at the same time. Quick create form. This one's done. It's still using the old school one, and I don't know why that is, because there should be a new form editor. But it's still using the old school one, which isn't, I mean, I know how to do it in the old school one. I just thought it would be using the new one, because I haven't done anything that's, and you've seen what I've done. Okay, so let's do 2 columns. It's a little slow this morning. So reported by name, their email address. Not the resolution, description. The description, and this should probably be a required field. Come on. We actually want to make this a little larger. What was I doing here? 2 columns. Let's do 2 columns like that. Reported by name, email. owner. Can't get rid of that. Description. We'll get the lat long here in a minute. So I'm bouncing back and forth. So number of rows, let's go ahead and make that 7 rows. Just that way he doesn't try to expand on us. And then we do need the location. I think that's one of the fields. We have like lat long, but we need like address location. So let's go ahead and go back here to fields. There's different ways to create this. I could create this here. We can do it this way. Reported location. It is required because we're going to need it. I don't need to audit that. Data type is single line of text, 100 fields. That's fine. Welcome to Chrome. We're like reported location. So we have the people individual reporting. The other one we need is like a source. So we need like a case source. Where is it coming from? I think this should be an option set. So let's go down and do option set. And do need to create an option set. It'd be nice if I could search across these option sets, but I like how it does pop it out. This is a lot easier to read. Activity type, no. Component type, delivery, priority, dependency. Object type. Interesting ones, but nothing that I'm global. It's fine. It's nice that it defaults to global, so you don't even have to do it. Case source. Phone call, email. What other things do we have? Phone call, email. We have a phone call, we have an email, we have a website. We'll try to work on that. We have a walk-in option. Walk-in. Is that one word? No, it's like a concatenated word. View more. Interesting. Okay, cool. That'll be a good start. So case source for that. Option sets, rollups required. Yes. Default. No. People will have to add that, so I'm going to save entity, which is going to push that out. If I do this, there's my case source. I'm going to save and close that. It's in progress. Okay, save and close. Description, we were doing format, we were doing 7. So this is going back over to the regular form. We also had the new, I'll refresh this, that way we can get the new field back here for case source. It's going to go to custom field so we can just see what's else out there. Reported location is there as well. Let's go ahead and make this a new section. And what we're going to do is drag this information, kind of like you saw before, just to mirror it. Up here in the header information, I am going to put the owner. So I do need to go back to all fields, the owner of the case, which will then let us go back here and remove that one since it's up here in the header now. And then also the other one I wanted to do is the status reason up here so we can see what the status reason is. When we actually view this, we have notes and activities over here. Let's go make sure that the note text should be activities as well, right? So is this going to bring in more? It's going to have activities and notes. What else? ACI controller. What does this do? ACI controller. So Nuka commented on that, the ACI controller, but it doesn't tell me what it is. Let's look at this community post. Azure Customer Insights. For customer insights. And it also references Cortana Intelligent Customer, so what is it in practice? In my interpretation is that is the new big data analytics platform that will be developed alongside the transactional XRM platform to perform customer 360 view. It combines data from various different sources into a single dashboard. The visualization components can be embedded into XRM apps for sales and service. Not too much information out there, but it is officially available now. This was about 2.5 years ago. So let's go back and look at the docs. Looks like the docs that he posted were removed. Okay, interesting. Let's go ahead and insert a time controller. I think that'd be beneficial. So name, timer. Specify the data sources for the time field. Time success. Success condition, it means the failure time field. What does that mean? Success condition would be status reason equals resolved. Failure condition is status reason equals canceled. Warning condition in progress? Sure. Canceled condition. Oh, that would be canceled. So I feel like we need like a failure reason for some reason. No issue. Is that a failure? Pause condition. Okay, cool. We'll give that a shot. A little above the notes. Interesting that the timer, like a capital I, oh, that's the label. For some reason I thought it was the other way around. Interesting. So we got the timer here. So let's go ahead and save this and publish it out. This will give us a good start. And then over here in our app that we're playing, here, not set, because it's a new one, primary field. That should have defaulted for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not display it on the form. Display label, that's fine. We shouldn't make this required because there's no, because it's going to auto pop for us. Using the, didn't we use auto numbering for this? Or is it just me? Am I going crazy? So let's save that, publish it. When we look at these fields, the primary field is using auto numbering. Interesting. So that's not in the classic view. So when you look at the classic view, you don't have that option to see that and to change it. So here it was a phone call. We should rearrange those. So case source is fine. Email. So we should get the individual's name and then their email. Go ahead and reload that again. So what I'm doing there is a couple of different things. So here we had a phone call come in with Seth, and his email is bacon@thebaconbites.com. Reported location just down the street. So we will get some good data in here later. Big pothole after the last rainstorm. Cool. So we'll go ahead and save that. Here we see the timer's going. I think that means it's in failure status right now. So yeah, a couple of different things. One, we probably should add the phone call entity to this, so I can do a quick create. So we can do a quick create contact, even though we remove the contact from our app, which is interesting. If I look at my apps and I look at the pothole app, it's still allowing me to. Oh, I played it instead of opened it. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Anyways, let's go back to web. So it's allowing us to do a quick create on the contact. That's not what I wanted to do. I want to run reports. We're going to do a lot of different stuff on here eventually, but here we see the case number. That's what we expected to see. Related activities, audit history, that's fine. Leaving that there. Here, again, this is using the new unified interface, the UCI. As part of this, so we can email and link to somebody. You can do all this other stuff up here. That's fine. Change the owner, reassign it. It's currently in progress. I think that's because we had some failure reasons. So let's go back into the source, into the timer. And let's go ahead and remove that failure one. Failure time field. I don't understand that concept. Failure time field. Just checking on the time real quick. And making sure I didn't get any text that the baby bacon was awake and looking to hang out. Yeah, sorry, getting really distracted by the phone cord, getting tangled up. Okay, cool. So we got that. We got the case going on. Cool. So we got a basic layout. Eventually, we do want to bring this into a Canvas app so we can like take pictures and stuff like that. We'll bring it up on the phone and do some testing over there as well. Task flow, begin a task-based flow. Interesting. That'd be kind of cool to do that kind of stuff. The other one I wanted to do before we get too much further away is add the phone call. So let's add an activity, and we're going to add the phone call. We'll eventually do like a phone call to case item, and so that's already in there. So business process flows, expired processes, new processes, business process flows. Okay, cool. That's fine. Save up. Apparently it was already saved. Publish that out. Do this, do that. The other thing I'm curious on is why we already did the quick create. Oh, there we go. So it just took a second to do that. Interesting. I like how they do activities there. That's a little different. So it's sort of hidden back there. So if you want to do an activity, you can do that. So we can do a phone call, quick create there. Fine. We'll retouch that up. Case, we can do this is what we expected. So Seth, bacon, at thebaconbites.com. Interesting, that just popped up in my email on the other screen. Don't worry about that later. Reported location up the street. The other one was down the street. Save and close. Interesting, it doesn't give you the option. Oh, there it is. View record. They moved it on me. Okay, cool. I don't know why everything's still bold. It's kind of random. But if we look at the list of cases, we should have 2 of them in there. Active cases and inactive cases. The other thing we should do, a couple of different things. One, we should change the views. So let's go into the cases view. Let's update this active cases view. Good, it's using the new interface here at least. Graded on makes sense. Can we make this width 200? That's fine. Components, column attributes. Let's add the case source, the description. Let's make the description longer. Let's also add the, what else should we add? Reported location for sure. Should probably go first. And here we're going to increase that. We don't want any filters on it, that's fine. Status reason would be good, especially for active cases. So we know that it's active cases, so it's just a matter of when. And then can we actually insert the timer on this? No, you can't insert the timer, which is interesting. So let's save that, save and close it. This was one area that it'd be nice if Microsoft helped out the community, because what I want to then do is copy that over to my inactive. And there's tools for that already, and so I don't know if that's in the XRM toolbox specifically, if that's why they haven't done it or haven't looked to do it. So let's do that. Let's validate that. So it's solutions. We got 5 warnings. Interesting. Doesn't reference a form or a view. Activity doesn't reference a form or a view. App users will all forms and views. Yeah, because you didn't let me have case. Sure. Knowledge, all. Okay, Microsoft, do you realize that I don't have an option on those other ones, right? So if I validate that, we got 5 warnings. Let's publish it, validate it. Case doesn't reference a form or a view. App users will see all forms and views. Same thing. So if I don't have an option for activities, here it's all. I'm okay with all. Can I change the form name there? So they're warnings and not errors, and it's some of these are misleading because there's only one form. I'm okay with them using all the forms, and so the fact that it's warning me, I wish there was a way to say yes, I understand that, or something like that, where it's okay. I get it. Okay. What is my quick create? We already looked at that knowledge base article. This is cool. So if I didn't want them to quickly create a knowledge base article, that's fine. And quick view forms, sure, bring those all in, but I don't want to do the quick create. I like that. It's actually really good. And do I have 4? I have 3 of them, 3 warnings. So phone call, queue, and activity. Cool. 11 missing dependencies required. Sure. Add dependencies. It's going to add a bunch there. And then those have subsequent requirements. This is coolish that they tell you this, and it's only like certain portions of it that you're actually like bringing in. You see here just how crazy it could be though. And so I went from like having just a couple of things to having a bunch of things because of those forms that I'm bringing in. So now if we validate, we still got 3 because of phone call activities and queues, and phone call, yeah, bring them in please. There's not a way to like, anyways, whatever. Cool, so we'll bring those in. Bouncing back over here, solutions, we'll do it all in the solution. I thought that's where you're supposed to do it, is inside this. If I go back to the solutions, let's try using the default solution. I know it like makes me nervous and stuff. Let's bring back everything. So even in the default solution, if I go to the information main form, yeah, it's still doing the same form. That's fine. Whatever. Solutions, let's go back over here. Common data model. Okay, so what we got here is we got a start. Pretty good start. Do we update this? View. We haven't saved and published that table yet. That case. So let's go back to the solution, publish all customizations, and push that out there. We may call it a day here. There's a lot more that we can do. Interesting that it added an organization ID now. Not sure when that happened, but now we see that there is an organization ID as part of it. So it's publishing all solutions. We change these back and forth. Cool. So everything's published, and there we see our change come through. On our dashboard, we probably should change this. I want to find out, before we end today, I want to go find out what that dashboard is real quick. So it's the overview one. This is all of the dashboards. Like, how do we find a dashboard in this thing? This is the default solution, so it should be everything in here, right? So part of a different one? Like, how do you edit this dashboard? So I'll create a personal dashboard, edit it, and see what's going on here at the top real quick. Because that's going to bug me not knowing what is causing that. So anybody else seeing what I'm seeing, or not seeing what I'm seeing, or seeing what I'm not seeing? So this dashboard really is, it's like got nothing around it. That's so random. Microsoft, what the heck did you do? What is this? That's weird. Okay, whatever. Let's delete that dashboard. We don't need that. And while we're at it, we're going to go into this app designer, and we don't care about that one anymore. Okay, I understand. We have to put something in there. Cool. I think I hear Baby Bacon, which makes this perfect timing. So we're going to publish that. We're going to publish out our customizations, and that'll pretty much do it. So if you guys enjoyed this content, it's a little bit different this time around, where I know we're building something out, but at the same time trying to build it with a purpose and try to build it with a specific requirement and requirement set, goal in mind. Again, the goal of this is to make it something that we do over time. There's a lot of stuff I'd like to do. One of the things I want to do is actually send out with a flow send a case summary report from a Word document template type of thing. And so send that out at the end and turn it maybe into a PDF or something like that. So that way somebody can receive it at the end of it. Also want to do a portal on top of this. That makes a lot of sense as well. And go through that step. So anyways, that's what we're going to start doing, is going through this, going through that kind of portion and stuff like that. So if you guys have questions or thoughts around things you want to see in this as we go through, today was really just getting a base of that case and stuff like that. And then eventually what we'll do is get into some of those more, some of the newer stuff as well. So the Power Apps and stuff, being able to take a photo and all that kind of good stuff. So anyways, if you guys enjoyed this content, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Let me know that you enjoyed it. Drop a comment down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that way you know the next time that we're going to be streaming. Try to do this every Saturday. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And so anyways, appreciate y'all joining this morning and look forward to catching you next time. Thanks, y'all.